Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the bizarre habits of history's famous figures. From Beethoven's head-soaking to Einstein's sockless shenanigans, get ready to be amazed. History isn't just about dates and battles, it's about people. And people can be pretty weird, so buckle up as we uncover the strange quirks of some of the most brilliant, eccentric and influential individuals ever. Chapter 1. Beethoven's brain-boosting baths. Beethoven, the genius behind symphonies that make us go, whoa, did you know he'd pour ice water over his head while composing? Apparently it stimulated his creativity, or maybe he just liked feeling chilly. Chapter 2. Einstein's sockless stance. Einstein, the father of relativity, also rebelled against another societal norm, socks. He found them pointless and uncomfortable. Maybe that's why he understood the universe better. Chapter 3. Ben Franklin's Airy Awakening, founding father, inventor, diplomat, and nudist? Ben Franklin practiced air baths, sitting naked by an open window each morning. He claimed it improved his health. The jury's still out on that one, though.
Chapter 4. Lord Byron's Bare Necessities.
Dogs banned at Cambridge University, no problem for the romantic poet Lord Byron.
He brought a tame bear as a pet instead, because, well, nothing says rebellious poet like having a pet bear.
Chapter 5. Frida Kahlo's Artistic Appendages.
Frida Kahlo's art explored pain, identity, and the human body. She had prosthetic legs decorated with paint and jewels.
Talk about making a statement.
Chapter 6. Isaac Newton's eye-popping experiment.
Ever wondered what it's like to stick a needle in your eye? Newton did.
He inserted one between his eye and bone to study light refraction.
Don't try this at home, kids, or anywhere, actually.
French novelist Honoré de Balzac was fueled by coffee.
Not just a cup or two.
Up to 50 cups a day.
And that's a lot of caffeine for a writer.
He conquered empires, but Napoleon couldn't conquer his fear of cats, no matter how brave he was.
That's right, the mighty Napoleon had ailurophobia, a fear of cats.
Proof that even emperors have their weaknesses and fears.
Nikola Tesla, the genius of electricity, had a thing for the number 3.
He'd walk around a building 3 times before entering.
Why?
It adds to his mystique. Chapter 10. Queen Elizabeth's toothy trend.
Queen Elizabeth rocked black teeth.
It wasn't fashion, her decaying teeth, thanks to sugar, set a trend.
Even queens have dental problems.
Chapter 11. Pythagoras and the Forbidden Bean.
Think beans are harmless?
Tell that to Pythagoras.
He forbade his followers from eating them.
Who knew legumes could be so controversial? Chapter 12. Andersen's escape rope.
Hans Christian Andersen, the fairy tale master, had a fear of fire.
He even carried a rope everywhere, just in case he needed to escape a burning building.
Talk about being prepared. He was always ready for the unexpected.
Salvador Dali, a master of surrealism, believed he was his deceased brother's reincarnation.
That's surreal even for him.
Howard Hughes, the eccentric billionaire, took germophobia to the extreme.
He isolated himself in a sealed, sterilized world to avoid any contamination.
Talk about a real clean freak, right?
Need advice? Ask your dog. Catherine the Great certainly did.
Her pug attended court meetings, and she supposedly considered its reactions when making decisions.
A ruler after my own heart indeed.
There's nothing like a good soak to get the mind working.
Winston Churchill, who led Britain through World War II, loved a good bath. He'd spend hours soaking, dictating letters, and even holding meetings.
Why should comfort be a privilege reserved only for men?
George Sand, the famous French novelist, challenged societal norms by wearing men's clothing, finding it more comfortable and freeing.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but for me it's a muse.
Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, loved his cigars. He believed smoking enhanced his creativity. King James I of England was definitely not a fan of tobacco.
He even wrote a detailed treatise against smoking, titled A Counterblast to Tobacco.
Talk about irony, right? Marcel Proust, author of In Search of Lost Time, wrote much from bed.
He believed it fostered creativity.
Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, ironically believed sleep was a waste of time.
He'd often rely on short naps instead of a full night's rest to maximize his productivity.
Joseph Stalin, the dictator of the Soviet Union, took control to a whole new level.
He'd literally airbrush people he disliked out of official photographs, erasing them from history.
Talk about rewriting history. Pablo Picasso, the revolutionary artist, kept a revolver in his studio.
Don't worry, it wasn't for harm.
He'd shoot at annoying visitors. Lord Nelson, the British naval hero, had a rather unusual shipmate, a pet pig named Pig.
Who needs a parrot when you have a pig on board? It's quite the sight.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Enlightenment philosopher, found inspiration in nature.
He'd write naked on a rock, feeling the Earth's energy.
He considered it his uniform, a symbol of individuality.
More than just clothing, it was a statement.
Mahatma Gandhi, leader of India's independence movement, kept a daily journal, writing letters to himself.
He believed in self-reflection and moral examination.
Leo Tolstoy, the literary giant, became a vegetarian later in life and a strong advocate for animal rights and ethical treatment.
He believed deeply in compassion for all living creatures, big and small.
Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, had an unusual phobiaoverphobia, the fear of eggs.
He found them utterly repulsive and couldn't even stand the sight or thought of them.
Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, was so punctual in his daily walks that people could set their watches by him.
Talk about a creature of habit. His routine was legendary.
Charlie Chaplin, the silent film icon, entered a look-alike contest. Guess what? He didn't win.
Joan of Arc, the French heroine, claimed to receive divine visions from saints. These divine visions led her to a life of battle and ultimately to her untimely death.
Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor, reportedly developed a deep affection for a pigeon, claiming to love it deeply.
I often wrote standing up. It wasn't a trendy choice, but a necessity due to my chronic back pain.
Virginia Woolf, the modernist writer, found her creative flow while standing. Her unique approach to writing was shaped by her physical challenges.
I was so dedicated to my art that I'd often neglect hygiene. Days would go by without bathing, as I was completely absorbed in my work.
Michelangelo, the Renaissance master, lived for his art, sometimes to the detriment of his well-being.
I believe staring at the sun enhanced my thinking, but I wouldn't recommend trying this at home.
Friedrich Nietzsche, the influential philosopher, had some unconventional ideas about boosting his intellectual prowess. Emily Dickinson, the reclusive poet, was notoriously private and avoided social interactions.
Yes, I'd sometimes lower baked goods in a basket from my window to avoid direct contact with visitors and maintain my solitude.
Ernest Hemingway, the literary giant, preferred to write while standing up at his desk.
I believe it improves my posture, focus, and overall productivity.
Alexander the Great, conqueror of the ancient world, had a big ego.
I named 70 cities after myself.
James Joyce, the Irish novelist, had a specific writing outfit, a white coat.
Yeah, he believed it helped him get into the creative zone, even in bad weather.
Quite an interesting approach to creativity, don't you think? It's fascinating how attire can influence the mind. George Washington Carver, the agricultural scientist, believed in talking to plants.
He claimed they communicated back, helping him understand their needs and grow healthier crops.
It's amazing how he found a way to connect with nature on such a personal level, isn't it? Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist philosopher, relied on amphetamines to fuel his prolific writing.
He claimed they helped him think more clearly and for much longer periods.
A controversial method, but one that certainly left a lasting mark on his philosophical works. F. Scott Fitzgerald, the Jazz Age author, often wrote under the influence of alcohol.
He believed it boosted his creativity.
Agatha Christie, the queen of crime fiction, found inspiration in the bathtub.
She'd write novels while soaking in a hot bath.
Edgar Allan Poe, the master of the macabre, had a controversial personal life.
He married his 13-year-old cousin, Virginia Clem, which shocked many at the time.
John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, enjoyed skinny dipping in the Potomac River.
Nothing like a refreshing swim to clear the mind after a long day at the White House.
Voltaire, the French Enlightenment writer, loved coffee.
Oh, indeed, he drank up to 40 cups a day.
40 cups, can you imagine that caffeine buzz?
Ludwig II of Bavaria, known for his fairy tale castles, had a peculiar habit. He'd build these grand structures, but then refused to let anyone inside them, keeping them isolated.
Anton Chekhov, the Russian playwright, had a peculiar hobby, collecting bent spoons. He'd bend them himself into unique shapes.
Oscar Wilde, the witty playwright, was known for his flamboyant personality. He took his pet lobster for walks on a leash.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment and subscribe for more intriguing content. See you next time.